Hello, everyone. Uh, I am Kiran Garimella. I am the Michael Hammer Postdoctoral Fellow at MIT. This is joint work with Bob West from EPFL and Rebecca and Tim at Mozilla. So we all know that political polarization in the US has been on the rise. Particularly concerning is the polarization in news consumption. As an example, let me show you a result of a poll by the Pew Research Center done a year ago in 2020, where they asked the following question: what news sources do you trust to consume political news? And the answers by liberals and conservatives are quite different. So liberals trust CNN, New York Times, and so on. Conservatives trust a completely different set of sources like Fox News, Hannity, Limbaugh Radio, and so on. This is quite different, but that's not concerning. The concerning bit is for this question. So they also asked, which news sources do you distrust the most? And the lists are now reversed. So liberals distrust Fox News, Limbaugh, and Hannity, and conservatives distrust CNN and New York Times. So this clearly shows how polarized news consumption is. So our work tries to provide more evidence using large-scale observational data. We use browsing data obtained using an extension installed on the Firefox browser. Around 24,000 users who are based in the US installed our extension, and this allowed us to collect data for almost a month in 2018. Of course, this is not the first study to make use of browsing data to study polarization in news consumption. Flaxman, Goel, and Rao used Microsoft toolbar data to study this phenomenon in 2016. However, our extension allows us to obtain high quality estimates of the time spent on a domain instead of just the binary visited or not flag. So we can capture active time spent on a tab instead, and you can also measure users switching between tabs and windows. So if a user is not active on a tab, we are not counting that. On top of this, we also use a data set of around 1,300 news sources and their polarity. Each news source is assigned a score between 0 and 1, so 0 being liberal left-leaning. So in terms of the analysis, first we start with constructing what we call a browsing matrix, where the rows are the users and the columns are the domains they visit. And the entry in this matrix is the average time spent. Here it's in seconds by the user on that domain. So for instance, user 1 spent 10 seconds on average on domain 1. User 2 spent 58 seconds on domain W2. Now we use a co-clustering approach to identify clusters in this matrix. That is, we cluster the columns to identify domains which are typically visited by a similar set of users. And we find 3 clusters. So I'm plotting the distribution of leaning of the domains in each of the clusters here. The orange line here is the median, and the green triangle is the mean. Cluster 1 has a median of 0.21, which is quite left-leaning. Similarly, cluster 3 has a leaning of 0.69, which is quite right-leaning. There's also a significant center-leaning cluster containing many mainstream news sources like the New York Times. These 3 clusters indicate that by just looking at what user spends time on what domain, we can clearly identify well-separated clusters of domains. Now, instead of the entry in the matrix being the time spent, let's consider a binary variant of the browsing matrix indicating just a visit, as is usually done in related work. So user 1 visits W1, user 1 did not visit W4, and so on, right? And here, if you do the same co-clustering, this is the clusters that you get. If you do doing this on a binary variant does not reveal any cluster structure, indicating the importance of considering time spent on each domain. So instead of this, you get this. So next, instead of individual instances, let's look at browsing paths. So for each user, we have a series of domains which they visited during their browsing. So for each user, we have the sort of time series. Now, from this, we can create what we call a co-browse graph based on the sets of domains that were co-browsed together. So this is how it looks. So for instance, if you have a path from W1 to W2, you create a graph with two nodes, W1 and W2. The domains are the nodes, and an edge between the two nodes indicates that there was a browsing path by one user between W1 and W2. And the edge thickness indicates the number of users who made this transition. So for here, for instance, W2 to W3 is quite popular. And so you see a lot of, the edge thickness is quite high. So to repeat, the overall co-browse graph aggregates browsing paths across all users at the dyad level to create a network of domains that are all browsed together. Now, let's look at this co-browse graph further by looking at the individual nodes. Let's color the nodes by their leaning score. So blue is left leaning, red is right leaning. So let's say W1 has a leaning score of 0.13 and so on. Now we define what we call the mean outlink polarity of a node or outlink leaning of a node. Let's consider W5 and all its neighbors. We take the leaning of all the neighbors, then take the average. Now let's plot the leaning of the node with the mean outlink leaning. So on the x-axis, the leaning of the domain. On the y-axis is the mean outlink leaning. Each dot here is a domain. We see that this is already quite correlated, meaning if we consider a left-leaning domain, the mean outlink leaning is close to 0, and the other way if it is a right-leaning domain. So this is another way to show that the nodes in the neighborhood are to a large extent homogeneous. Finally, let's look at the role of user choices in the polarization. A major argument by Facebook, this picture is from a blog post by Facebook, is that it's not completely the algorithms that are the root cause of polarization, but the user choices also make a difference. In our case of browsing the web, there's not necessarily an algorithm, but there's specific user choices which they browse. So we can compare against a baseline to measure to what extent the user choices matter. And as the baseline, we use what we call the hyperlink graph. So this is a graph which has the same set of nodes as the co-browse graph, but the edges are now hyperlinks between these domains. So if you look at these two graphs side by side, we get an intuition on how we want to measure the user choices. So edges in the co-browse graph are the ones that the users actually took. So these are from the browsing data. Edges in the hyperlink graph are edges which could have been taken. So these hyperlinks exist between these domains, but the users have not taken this. Now, if we check these edges, we can see a pattern. So for instance, the edge between W1 and W3 does not exist in the co-browse graph, but exists in the hyperlink graph. To quantify this concretely, here's what we do. For each edge in the hyperlink graph, we look at whether the edge also exists in the co-browse graph. If it does, we take the absolute difference in leaning between the two nodes of that edge and create buckets with such difference. Here's how it looks visually. On the x-axis, we have the absolute leading difference bucketed into deciles. On the y-axis, we have the fraction of edges from the hyperlink graph that exists in the co-browse graph for this decile. So for instance, this point here covers edges like this, shown on the right, which have very little difference in leaning. So around 40% of these edges are also present in the co-browse graph. But if you compare to the other end with edges like these, which have a large difference in leaning, the fraction of edges drops to 25%, meaning that it is much more likely to have edges which are homophilous than edges which connect opposite ends of the spectrum. So to summarize, we collected a large data set of browsing histories of tens of thousands of users, including for the first time, an accurate measurement of the time spent on the website. Using this data set, we show that there is clear polarization in news consumption, as shown using a variety of measures. As a consequence, we find that users spend significantly longer amounts of time on websites that correspond to their leaning. I haven't shown this result, but it's in the paper. And finally, using a comparison with the baseline hyperlink network, we show that user choices play a significant role in the polarization. There are many more results in the paper. Thanks a lot.